Hello, and thank you for joining us for At Home with Irish Art Centre's Shamhna Irish Halloween Feast of the Fairies. My name is Jessie Riley, and I am the Director of Education and Community Programs at Irish Art Centre in New York City. Our celebration this weekend has taken place over 2 days. Yesterday we had part 1 of our program, which focused on Halloween activities. And if you didn't get a chance to see it yet, I recommend you go back and watch it on our Facebook or YouTube pages because it was a lot of fun. Today is part 2 of our program, and it is also the first day of November. In the Irish language, the name for November is also the name of one of the holidays that Halloween originated from, and that is Samhain. In ancient Ireland, it was thought to be a time when the veil between this world and the other world grows thin, which meant that both the dead and the fairy folk were able to cross over into our world. So today, we are going to gather around a virtual bonfire with you and enjoy a feast of poems and stories by a group of talented artists to honor this special time of year. First up, we have Felispeaks, with a poem and an invitation for you to write your own poem in the form of a spell. Felispeaks is a Nigerian Irish poet, performer, and playwright from County Longford, currently based in County Kildare. She is a member of the Dublin City Council's Culture Company Advisory Panel and the Board of Members for Poetry Ireland. Felispeaks was nominated for Best Performer by Dublin Fringe Festival in 2018 and has appeared at the National Concert Hall, Dublin Castle, Olympia Theatre, Electric Picnic, and Smock Alley Theatre. Welcome, Felispeaks.
Hi everyone, my name is Felicia. I go by Felispeaks. I'll be your Dracula for the evening. Happy Halloween. So, Halloween is a great time for many different things. For the magic of the season, you can be scary, you could be cool, you could be me, but you could be a whole bunch of different things. So, you might be wondering why I'm dressed up as Dracula. Well, dressing up as Dracula was my first dress-up outfit for Halloween. I was about 10 years old and I dressed up as Dracula for a school play. It was the most exciting and the most fun I had as a child. Being whoever you wanted to be, that's the magic of Halloween, right? So this piece that's coming up next is called Hey There Black Child. And really it's dedicated to every kid, whatever color and creed you are, that you could be whatever you want to be. And I wanted to be Dracula and I was told that I wasn't allowed to be. But now, I can be Dracula because I'm an adult. But also, I'm giving you the executive permission to be whatever you want to be because Halloween demands it. Hey there, black child. Do you know who you are? Who you really are? Do you know you could be what you want to be? Hey there, black child. Be the escaped victim looking for more parts of yourself like treasure-hunted jigsaw pieces, reassembling, rearranging, chase and hunt yourself down to the rest of you marches behind in a single file, unroped, unchained, accepted. Hey there, black child. Accompany darkness into the room and steal its shine. Be big enough to fit crooks and corners. Nobody can say you aren't visible, heard, known. Awkward enough to be the elephant in the room or the flame in the candle you fit. But you exist to be wild, to extend the trunk of your mind, to fill the minds of nations like forest fire. Find your steady beat, flex your abilities. Hey there, black child. You're more than a black child. You're more than the reminder of skin. Shade isn't your summary, your conclusion, or your solution. Your answers to prayers and troublesome days be someone's amen. You're the crescendo in a promising masterpiece. Don't you dare be mute. Black child, be free. Hey there, black child. You know who you are, who you really are. Not in borders or cages, not in caves or cages. Hey there, black child, be free. So, now that you've learned 2 incredible uses for Halloween, 1 being that you could be whatever you want to be because you can, and 2, that you can use the magic of the season to make the world a little bit better for everybody else. So, you get 2 prompts. The first prompt, tonight my magic looks like ... You can fill in the blanks. The second prompt, I cast my spell to ... Did you get that? 2 prompts. 1, my magic looks like. 2, I cast my spell to. Happy Halloween!
Thank you, Dracula Felicia, aka Felispeaks. And now we are going to give you just a few minutes around the fire to write your spells. As soon as you finish your spell, please send it to us, along with your name, either by sharing right in the comment section of the live stream or by emailing me, Jessie, Jessie, at irishartcenter.org. We will also be putting the prompts and my email in the comment section of our live stream now. Don't delay, as we're going to gather everyone's spells in the next 5 minutes, and then at the end of our program today, we're going to cast them all together with the help of Felispeaks live from Ireland. While you write your spells, please enjoy the music of Irish Art Center's harp teacher and Grammy-nominated artist, Mia Theodoradis' Incantation and Realization. Remember, the prompts to write your spells are 1. My magic looks like, and 2. I cast my spell to. Happy spell making! Thank you for sending us your spells. I can't wait to hear them later. Now, we are going to experience 3 different stories today in 3 different ways. For the first story, we are going to mainly use our ears to listen to the story. Then for the next story, we will mostly use our eyes to see the story. And for the last story, we are going to use our whole bodies to dance the story. So, for our first story, we'll be practicing listening with our ears. We have writer, traveler activist, and cultural preservationist Oein DeBhairduin. Oein will be reading a story to us from his fabulous new book from Skein Press, Why the Moon Travels. Why the Moon Travels is a collection of haunting tales rooted in the oral tradition of the Irish traveler community. Gathered by Oein throughout his childhood, retold in his lyrical style, and beautifully illustrated by Leanne McDonough. Oein will be sharing some of his traditions with us and reading the story, The Women Who Gather. Welcome, Oein DeBhairduin.
Hello there, and happy Halloween, Samhain Banachta. My name is Oein DeBhairduin, and I'm coming to you today all the way from Ireland. It's a place where my people are from and where I still live. Now, my people are called Kerry, and you might actually know us as trappers or Irish trappers. We are people who have moved around the country, although many of us do live now in one place, but there have been generations upon generations of us who move, just like the wind is blowing us, down the road and over the hills, and onto brand new adventures. And because we've travelled, we have a tendency to pick up stories from different places. And one of these stories I'm actually going to share with you today, but before I do that, I just want to tell you a little bit more about travellers. So travellers are the indigenous nomadic people of Ireland, which means that they're originally from Ireland. We consider ourselves to have always been in Ireland. And being nomadic, which means, again, as I said earlier, we move around. So one of the things that people are known for, and it's an old title, would be the art of tinkering. So I'm going to show you an example of tinkering. So this is called a puncher, which just means cup, and it's made from tin. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but the little handles here are soldered on with bits of copper. And many of my old generations of people would have made these by hand and travelled from town to town and city to city to sell them. And they would repair old cups, and they would repair pots, and they would repair buckets, and sometimes they would have all sorts of different skills, because not only did they have the craft of tinkering, we were people who mended stuff. So there was a gift of that people used to mend plates. It was called lacing. That if you had a china plate, and nowadays plates are very easy to find and cheap to buy, but years ago they were really quite expensive. So when they broke, many people used to come down and used to sew them so carefully together the edges would snit together. Other people within my family would have been herbalists. They would have gathered herbs for both cures and healing and rest, but also they would have gathered them for dyeing fabric. Part of the story that I want to share with you all is the story of the women who gather. And one of the things within the women who gather that we even hear mentioned is this thing called a beady pocket. Now, a beady pocket is something that's very unique to the traveller community. It's both a way to tell stories, to take care of very precious items, but also to be expressive, like your own sense of style. So traditionally, beady pockets were black, almost square bits of fabric that were sewed together. And I should have an example of a newer type one. So this is a beady pocket I made with people. So it has the same shape. It has strings to the side that people would tie it onto their clothing or to their belts. But see these buttons? So traditionally, people have given buttons as gifts. So this button might be when a friend got married. This button might be when your best friend started a new school. This button might be from your favourite holiday that someone gave you a button so you remember it. And sometimes people add little charms and little medals, but it's a way to remember. And this is a part of our culture, a part of our identity, and it's part of the way that we remind each other of how special we can be to one another, but also that the stories that we share with ourselves and other people are best remembered and shared with others. So I'm going to read the story of the women who gathered, and hopefully you listen along with me. It's called The Women Who Gather, and part of it is in our language, which is called Gammon, which is a type of Irish. Everyone in the room speaks Irish. It goes, a Bjor Tala Amal Aswart. The very first story I recall telling was a tale I heard at school. I was about 9, and I sat on a wooden chair in the backyard and watched my father and neighbour cut soils of turf in the garden in an attempt to build and dig out a foundation for a small shed that was never to be. The groove that it was marked is still here to this very day, and each time I see it, I am reminded of the sharing of stories. The tale I had heard at school was about the Virgin Mary and the Christ child. They had hid in a cave from some soldiers, and a kind spider weaved a web so thick that they entered the cave that the soldiers did not venture in, deciding that no one had passed that way for many, many years. I had only half heard the story before I had decided myself to pass it on. Now I was a small wisp of a suckling, short on words and shy in company. The anticipation of having a tale to retell made and filled my footsteps home with subtle joy and a loud excitement. I remember telling the tale and feeling very proud of it, feeling as tall as if I was standing at the chair rather than just sitting in it. My father stood for quite some time and listening to me, with his chin resting on the top of his hand that lay in the handle of his shovel, his grey eyes regarding me kindly until I had finished. After a while he would turn to the shoveling of the soil and aside and told me the tale of where spiders come from and why many of them still weave the red cords on their wrists. Once, they say, they were old women who would travel the land and carrying tightly woven willow baskets to gather fallen bark of crabapple trees, wilting St. John wort plants, and any fresh beetroot that they could find. They plucked the flax that grew brazenly along the roadside, and the wool that snarled in the thorns and brambles of hawthorn trees and firs. They dressed mostly in black, but the edges of the garments were lined in red, white and yellow. Some of the women also had additional stripes of the dresses of different colours, one for each of the children, living or departed. Their long hair was plaited in firm braids, and about their hips was a small beady pocket, embezzled with medals and tokens and buttons that were tied. Every evening they would dye and boil the wool in red in the big cast iron pots that rested on the fireside in the heart of the molly that they lived. During the night they would continue to spin and weave the cords and render them red for young children. They would sing to them songs of hope and melodies of joy in a chorus of sweet voices and minds of clear intent, stirring and carding, weaving thoughts and prayers into the cords for the young. At dusk they would gather, at night they would labour, and as dawn came they would rest peacefully in their beds. And this is how it was for a very long time. However, as the years wore on, more and more children were born and welcomed into the world, and the old women who had gathered began to struggle to keep up to the pace of their labour. They worked and they worked and they worked to make the red cords, the colour of blood, tones of deep fire and rust and iron. Despite the struggles, they decided that they would keep weaving the cords, and one day they would weave a cord so long that it would encircle the entire world, and so that no child would ever be able to care of a loving blessing. Dawn and dusk, night and day blended into one, but the work continued, and the old women who gathered forgot to stop to eat or rest. Over time, their fingers, once kissed soft pink with dye, became darker and darker, some brown from the dust of the ashes, others black from the coal of the well-stocked fire that kept the dying pot of oil. Still, the old women who gathered, they worked on. The molly, once filled with songs and dances of joy, became silent as they focused more and more on their task. The sweat from their brow began to wash away the red from the cords, and it became a silken grey gossamer. In time, the cords became thinner and delicate as filigree, but at their core they held their strength. Still, the old women, they gathered and they carried working on. They grew thin and bony, and neither slumbered nor feasted, and they began to shrink. Some of the old women who gathered worked one or two of their very fingers away, while others kept their gathering baskets so tightly strapped to their backs, not bothering to take them off night and day between gathering, boarding and weaving the cords. Their hearts would remain warm, and the task that would remain their entire focus. In time, the old women grew smaller and smaller, less of this world and more of another, until one day they looked little more than a bundling of fingers, spinning and weaving and gathering baskets on their back, adorned with stripes and shadings that once belonged to the dresses and to the beady pocket. And do you know what they had become? They had become the very first spiders. And even now, they continue the work, spinning onwards and onwards across the very world. And one of the things I'd hope to share with you today is one of those cords. So this is a cord, and there's different ways to get a cord. Some people spin them, some people knit them, some people dye them, some people get laces from their shoes and paint them red, and other people just get some cord or wool in a shop. What's important, however, is not just what the cord is made from or the colour of the cord, but that it's tied onto your wrist by someone that you love. And it's a way to remember two things. One is that you are loved and minded, and the second, that someone truly loves and minds you, so you need to mind yourself and keep yourself safe. So if you have an opportunity or chance, I would really encourage you to get a cord that reminds us of the spinning of the women who gather, a symbol of love and care and friendship, and if you can, to tie it gently onto the wrist of someone that you care for, and if they can, to tie it gently onto your wrist. And as long as you wear it, you will be reminded that someone in the world cares for you, minds you, and wants to keep you safe. And this is thank you very much for listening to me today. Happy Halloween, Sao Benacta, and as always, may your own journeys travel forward, and long may you dream.
Thank you, Oein DeBhairduin. Our next story is the one that we will watch closely with our eyes because it was made by over 20 artists of different ages from all over the country. Each of these artists took on Irish Art Centre's Community Art Challenge to create one big collective pop-up book. Back in September, artist Maeve Clancy gave a pop-up book workshop with us and then provided us with a story from the archive of the National Folklore Collection of Ireland. Each artist which took our challenge received one line of text from the story and created a pop-up page that illustrated that line of text. Then they filmed themselves opening and closing their page, and Maeve Clancy edited their videos together to make this book. Please enjoy the world premiere of Irish Art Centre's collective pop-up book project, The Giants.
The Giants. A collective pop-up book, Irish Art Centre, NYC. Long ago, there was a man in Ireland, and he had 3 sons. On one Halloween night, they were going to the cows, and they had to pass the castle. As they were passing the castle, one of the giants came out, and he said they would kill them for trespassing. Now these giants have a very large pit in this field. The giant ran around and around the pit after the boys. When he could not catch them, he pulled up a large branch of a tree and ran around after them with it. He let the branch fall and stumble into the pit. The pit was not large enough and his neck broke in it. Then the giant told the boys then they would give him lots of gold if they would spare him. But they were glad to see him cry. So the boys set off for the cows. The following day, they went past the castle again, and out came another giant, just as large as the last one. He ran around the pit after the boys, and he pulled a very large branch from the tree. And he also tumbled into the pit. Then he cried out, spare me, I'll give you all the gold I have." The next evening, as they were passing, a large giantess came out. She said that she would kill the boys for breaking the other giants' necks. She followed the children till she also found the pit. Then the 3 children went home and told their father what had happened. When the children were older, they went to live in the giant's house. The end.
Thank you to all of the brilliant artists that took the pop-up book challenge. And a special thank you to Maeve Clancy for all of her work and inspiration on the project. Now, our last story before we cast our spells together is one where we will use our whole bodies to dance the story. Emily Kilkenny Roddy of CoisCéim Dance Theatre is going to lead us through the story of the Children of Lear. CoisCéim Dance Theatre is one of Ireland's leading dance companies, led by David Bolger. They aim to be at the forefront of the evolution of dance as an art form, in world-class performance work, in unique access and participation initiatives, as an advocate for dance, to provoke, inspire, entertain, and bring contemporary dance theatre to new audiences of all ages. Emily Kilkenny Roddy is a Dublin-based dance artist, performer, and dance teacher. She works with youth dance within community and teaches for numerous dance establishments and schools and colleges across Ireland. Welcome, Emily Kilkenny Roddy of CoisCéim Dance Theatre.
A long, long time ago in Ireland, at the end of the dominion of the Tuatha De Danann, there was a king called Lear. He lived in a castle with his 4 beautiful children, his daughter Fionnuala, his sons Oein and twins Fiachra and Con, and their new stepmother Aoife. At first, Aoife loved his children, but then she started to grow jealous of them. She knew that Lear loved them more than he loved her. She wanted the king's love all for herself, so she planned to get rid of the children.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily, and today we're going to find out more about the Children of Lear, and together we're going to discover who was King Lear, who was Aoife, and who were the 4 children. But first, let's use all of our space and our bodies to warm up for all the dancing we're going to do today. So start with your hands and your feet outstretched, give them a wiggle, give those hands a really big wiggle. Lovely, give those knees a big wiggle. And from there, we're going to reach across the body, finding a twist with our spines. From there, reaching up into the sky, find a little side bend. Swapping over to the other side. Reaching out those hands, we're going to bend our knees 4 times, bending down and up. 3 more of them. And 1. Lovely. Give it a little shake. Okay, let's get started. So, who was King Lear and what did he move like? King Lear was the king of the castle, so he used to stand really nice and strong, pulling his shoulders back. Can you do that too? From there, let's place one of our hands on our hips and the other one on our shoulder, imagining we're wearing a great big shawl, and we're going to take big steps around the castle grounds. Stepping out in front, we're going to cross in front, step back, step back. Let's practice 2 more of them. Step. Make sure you stay nice and long and strong in the neck. Maybe we'll try 4 of those to music. You ready? Can you hear that Irish reel coming in? All those lively instruments? So let that affect how you move. Just listening to the music, we're going to dance together. Counting 5, 6, 7, and 2 more. Using those great big steps. See now if you can walk around the castle grounds. Imagining you are King Lear. Use all the space. Amazing. And let that go. So, who were his 4 children? Well, first, there was Fionnuala, the oldest daughter. She was really lively, really boisterous, really strong, and she was always jumping around the castle. So let's start with a jump. We're going to kick our feet and have a little skip jump. And I'm flexing my hands, flexing my feet like this. Can you try that too? Exactly. Stretch those hands. Maybe yours are a little higher, or a little lower, or crossed. From there, let's add on an extra step. So we're going to take a step out, flex our hand, and come back in. Again. Let's try to add those 2 steps together. So we're kicking out, out, side. Again. Really flex those hands. Last time. So let's see if we can remember that. That was Fionnuala's steps. So next we had A. A as well was super strong, super boisterous, loved jumping around as well. But he loved to punch and jump with his arms up nice and strong. So we're going to start with our legs out to the side, clenching our fists. We're going to take 3 punches down. Punch, punch, punch. Cross, 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 cross. Try that a few more times. From there, we're going to pull up our arms, show the world how strong we are, and we're going to jump around the corner. So we're going to take 3 jumps. Jump, jump, down. Try that again. Last time. Let's try to add those 2 steps together. So it's going to go punch, punch, punch. 1, 2, 3, jump, jump, down. So that's A step. We're going to have to remember that one too, because lastly is the twins, Fiachra and Con, who loved playing with each other, loads of hand games and all that. So we're going to play together. I'm going to play towards you, and you're going to do the back towards me. So we're going to clap down our hands on our thighs and up, making loads of noise. Again. Last time. From there, we're going to cross our hand across the body, cross on top, pull everything back. Cross, cross, pull back. Let's try to put those 2 steps together. So we have last time. So we have 3 dances to remember there. We have Fionnuala, we have A, we have Fiachra and Con. So now what we're going to try to do is do 4 of each of those dances. We'll have a little bit of a breath in between, but we're going to see if we can really remember those steps. So show me you're ready to go. Are you ready to try this? Yeah? So let's start with 4 Fionnuala. We're going to let the music get a little bit louder now so we can dance together, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? 5, 6. Flex your hands. Going Fionnuala. 2 more times. Next is A. We ready? Arms up nice and strong. We're going to punch down. Ready? 6, 7, 8. 2 more times. Punch, punch, punch. Amazing. Lastly was Fiachra and Con. 4 times. We're ready? Going. 5, 6, 7, and 2 more. Amazing. So let's try this last time, doing 2 of each of those, no breaks at all. So we're going to do Fionnuala, A, Con and Fiachra all together. But this time, add in all your own little bits. If you want to stretch the arms up, if you want to punch the arms to the side, whatever version you want to do, this is your chance to do your dance. Are we ready? Show me that you're ready to try Fionnuala. Hands up, ready? 5, 6, 7, and straight on to A, and last time, straight on to the twins. Last time. Great, well done, really good stuff. So, what happened next in the story? One day, the children's stepmother, evil stepmother, came down to the children and said she wanted to bring them to the lake for a swim, to Loch Derivara. The children weren't sure why, but they were so excited to go they didn't care. So let's travel to the loch together with the children, using a combination of all those steps that we just learned. So maybe some Fionnuala, maybe some A, maybe some Con and Fiachra. Any combination of those steps that you want to do. We're going to travel around our space, really trying to use any combination and make it as creative as you possibly can. Yeah? So let's start. I'm going to start with some Fionnuala. Let's travel together. Keep traveling. That's it. Keep using any version of the steps that you want. We're nearly at the lock now. So now, use any version of those steps that you want. Make it as creative as you possibly can. Jump, spin around, whatever version you want. Keep going. We're almost there. Let's go. Do you remember Aoife from the beginning of the story and how she wanted to get rid of the children? Well, this was her chance to do it. King Lear was far away in the castle and the children were down at Loch Derivara, all on their own. Shh, she's going to cast a spell and turn them into swans. So how did she do it? Well, Aoife had all this power at her fingertips. All of her magic came from there. She was so powerful. So we're going to learn how to make her spell and cast that spell on the children. But first, what we need to decide is we need to pick a pose that really shows that we're Aoife. So you're going to pick nice and strong pose, outstretch the hands, show me a wizardry witchy pose. Hold that. Could be anything. Maybe you wanted to go all the way up and out. Maybe you want to make it small. Do whichever pose you want. You ready to show it to me? And show me that pose. Hold it. Amazing. So that's going to be our starting place every single time. Okay, so the first thing that Aoife needed to make that spell was she needed all the energy. So you're going to bring in all the energy of the space, all the energy of the loch, all the energy of nature. Pull everything in around your head, whipping those hands up and around your head, using the back of your shoulders to really stretch. Gather everything in. So the second thing that she needed was all the ingredients. So we're going to pull up nice and low, get down to the ground, pull up all these ingredients. Really heavy, use those fingertips to pull everything up out of the loch and out of the ground, stretching up nice and tall. Maybe you have two different things. Pulling up, pulling up. So what was the third thing that she needed? She needs to mix everything together. Using those fingertips again, we're gonna mix and circle those arms away. Make nice big circles, use the spine to stretch all the way out. When you've started to create those circles, you can do them a little bit faster. So you can create them a little bit faster. Mix, mix, mix. And then as soon as all the energy in the spell is ready to be cast, Aoife would pull everything in and shoot out that spell. See that spell coming out from the fingertip? I want to see that from you as well. So let's try that again. Mixing really, really fast. Energy out. Cast that spell. Let's try that 2 more times. But this time, see if we can pull our knees into our chest and jump that spell out. The more energy we give into it, the more powerful the spell is. So let's mix that around. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cast that spell. Last time, make it the biggest one yet. 3, 2, 1. Cast that spell. Yes, everyone. So now let's put all those ingredients together to make that spell. This is our practice spell. Are we ready? Show me your first Aoife's pose. Hold it. And let's start. Let's bring in the energy. Let's gather the ingredients. Let's mix that spell. Faster and faster. 3, 2, 1. Cast that spell. Are we ready? This is going to be the real spell this time. So we're going to let the music come in. Can you hear that spooky, scary music coming in? This is going to be the real spell. Everyone ready? Find that Aoife pose. Really listening to the music. And let's go. Three, 2, 1. That was the big spell. Keep spinning around, singing energy out of the fingertips. Keep going, keep going, keep going, and...
So Aoife put a spell on the children. You will be swans for 900 years. You will spend 300 years on this loch, 300 on the Sea of Moyle, and 300 on the waters of Inishglora. Only the sound of a church bell can break the spell.
Do you see the spell that Aoife's cast over the loch? The sun's disappeared, the sky has turned grey, and the winds are howling. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling quite scared. Quick, let's find a hiding place. Let's pick one really low to the ground. So come down with me to the floor. Get as close as you can to the floor, and you're gonna then twist your body around yourself to protect. So picking any position you want, make sure you're protecting your body, and as soon as you find your position, you're gonna hold for 5 seconds. So this is my position, you pick yours. And are we ready to hold? Don't move a muscle, and hold. Don't move. Okay, so that's our first hiding position. We need to find a second one. Let's pick up something really high, and we're gonna twist around ourselves to protect. Maybe we want to protect our head or our stomach. You pick your position. This is mine. And as soon as you find that position, hold for 5 seconds. Okay, so we have 2 hiding positions. Let's go back to our first one. We're gonna tiptoe over, making sure we're making as little sound as possible so Aoife doesn't see or hear us. Okay, down, position 1. Going, hold. Okay, I think we should go back to the second hiding position now. So let's travel really long, low steps to the ground. Make sure that Aoife doesn't see us. And go, second position. Don't move. I think I hear Aoife coming, so let's jump back to our first hiding position using big, long jumps. Are we ready? Okay, let's go. Jumping around quickly and down to the ground. Hold. I can hear the music getting louder. I think that means she's close. Let's go back to the second position, keeping our eyes peeled. Oh no! Oh no! We've been hit with her spell. We can't move a muscle. Our fingers are outstretched and our body's tense. Aoife's powers are so strong. Don't move any part of your body. But then, all of a sudden, your neck starts to move and your head starts to circle around the space. You're isolating just your neck as it grows into a really long swan neck. All of a sudden, a beak pops out and you're using that to look around the space. And then, just your fingers start to move and twirl and twist in the space as feathers pop out of your arms. Elbow starts, then shoulder, and you've one great big wing outstretching into the space. The other side, just your fingers, just your wrist, moves up into the elbow, into the shoulder, and then you've two great big wings and a swan's neck. Then your feet start to move as well. Your knees pick up high into the space. You're a full swan now, using all of your body. Pick everything up, use the neck. From there, we're gonna gather everything down into our swan's resting position. That was my swan dance. Do you want to dance with me and show me your swan dance? I want to see those wings outstretched in the space. I want to see you trying to find some balances, really lift up, use all the length of your body, but make that dance any version of that dance that you want. Let's all be swans together. Are we ready? So let's start all together down and then do whatever you want. Let's do it. Let's be swans together. And reaching up. Keep showing me how you want to dance as a swan. Arching your back. Reach those wings into the space. Fly through the air. Big steps. One thing Aoife did leave us with was our voice, so that we could sing to King Lear and tell him what happened to us. He's coming now. He can see and hear us, and we're going to tell him what happened. And that's when I leave you guys. Thank you so much for joining in with your workshop today. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope you did too. Enjoy the rest of the Children of Lear story. Bye!
King Lear spent many long years beside the loch talking to his swan children. After Lear died, the swans were so sad, but at least they were still together. 300 years passed, and the swans travelled to the Sea of Moyle between Ireland and Scotland. Their life here was hard. It was cold and food was scarce. Many more years passed, and the time came for them to fly to Inishglora. By now, the swans were very tired. One morning, they heard the sound they had been long waiting for. It was the sound of a church bell. The swan children flew to the shore. Outside the church stood a monk named Quavog. It was he who had rung the bells. He was surprised when 4 swans appeared. Then in front of his eyes, they transformed into 4 people. Fionnuala put her arms around her 3 brothers. They were so happy to be human again, even though they were now 900 years old. One night, the monk had a strange dream. He saw the 4 children flying high above him through the clouds, and as they flew higher and higher across the sky with their beautiful white wings outstretched, they called to each other, singing and flying in harmony together. Now, he knew that the Children of Lear were finally reunited with their father and mother.
Thank you, Emily Kilkenny Roddy of CoisCéim Dance Theatre. Now, the time has come for all of us to gather our collective energy and the magic of Halloween and Samhain and help each other cast our spells to make the world a better place. Please welcome back Felispeaks joining us live from Ireland.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you guys again. And I believe that you have cast some spells and it's ready for some reading. I'm so excited. It's been a pleasure reading your spells, and I hope that we can gather all the magic in the atmosphere and release it per spell. All right. So the first spell is Caitlin's spell. My magic looks like mist coming off the morning water. I cast my spell to protect the woodland creatures against harm. And release. You can release with me after the end of every spell. Okay. Thea's spell. My magic looks like yellow. I cast my spell to pick up garbage outside so the earth can be healthy. And release. This one is a 5-year-old spell. My magic looks pink and beautiful. I cast my spell to the trees. Magic, make pink flowers appear. And release. Karen's spell. My magic looks like fall leaves in a whirlwind. I cast my spell to preserve the beauty of fields, mountains, rivers, and streams forever. And release. Anona's spell. I cast a spell to get a new toy truck. Ooh, good luck, Anona. And release. Clifford's spell. My magic looks like spun light. I cast my spell to set free rainbows of love. Ooh, beautiful. And release. Mac's spell says, my magic looks like the color gray. I cast my spell for the kitchen to paint itself. Oh, nice one, Mac. And release. Fiona's spell. My magic looks like snow, flowers, orange leaves, or green leaves, depending on what season I'm making it. I can change the seasons. Oh, this is gorgeous. And release. Eileen's spell. My magic looks like the shimmers of light shining through a mist, the swirls at dawn. I cast my spell to clear the darkness in the hearts and minds of man and replace it with generosity and peace. Ooh, lovely. And release. Hustling Anglim's spell. My magic looks like ice clashing into fire, and I cast my spell to bring happiness and love to everyone. And release. Those are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spells, and it was my pleasure to be your resident Dracula to help you cast your spells. Thank you and have a good night. It's Felispeaks.
Thank you for all of your beautiful spells, and thank you to Felispeaks for helping to deliver them to us all. Another big thank you to our other brilliant artists, Oein DeBhairduin, Emily Kilkenny Roddy of CoisCéim Dance Theatre, Maeve Clancy, and all of our collective pop-up book artists. Thank you again to the artists that joined us yesterday, Lily Higgins, Joe Daly, and Marie Knoll. Happy Halloween, Oíche to you all.